Good. Okay. Welcome to our regular meeting of council. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we live, work, and gather on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin people, specifically the Temiskaming First Nation. We recognize the presence of the Temiskaming First Nation in our community since time immemorial and honor their long history of welcoming many nations to this beautiful territory and uphold and uplift their voice and values. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Good afternoon, Your Worship. All members are present. I'll note that Councillor Jesse Foley as well as Councillor Danny Whelan are joining virtually this evening.
Thank you. Item 4, review of revisions or deletions to the agenda. Seeing none. Takes us to item 5, approval of the agenda. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that City Council approves the agenda as printed. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Graydon. Seconded by Councillor Ducharme. Discussion. All in favor? Motion is carried. Item 6, disclosure of pecuniary interest in general nature.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Melanie Ducharme disclosed a declaration of conflict of interest related to Section Fee, bylaw number 2024-082, being a bylaw to enter into lease agreements for the use of rooms within the Don Shepherdson Memorial Arena and the Shelley Herbert Shea Memorial Arena, as she works as a contractor or coach with the Temiskaming Shores Skating Club.
Thank you. Is there any other? Seeing none. Takes us to item 7. We have no public meetings pursuant to the Planning Act, Municipal Act, and other statutes. Takes us to item 8, review and adoption of council minutes. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that City Council approves the following minutes as printed. A, the Committee of the Whole meeting held on June the 4th, 2024, and B, the regular council meeting held on June the 18th, 2024. Can I get a mover, please? Ms. Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Ducharme. Discussion. All in favor? That motion is carried. Brings us to item 9, presentations. And we have the pleasure of having Bridget Wilkinson, Executive Director with the Temiskaming Foundation, give us a presentation on the New School Nutrition Fund. Bridget, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving us the time to speak with you today. I know all of you anyway, but my name is Bridget Wilkinson, and I was hired as the Executive Director of the Temiskaming Foundation this January. So my goal here today is to ensure that each of you knows what the Temiskaming Foundation does, how it works, how it contributes to the well-being of our community, and answer any questions that you might have. So first of all, who we are. The Temiskaming Foundation was founded in 1994. It was incorporated federally as the Tri-Town Foundation and was renamed in 2009 to reflect the broader geographic region that we serve. So the foundation started small with approximately $8,000 invested in 1995, but it grew quickly with over $1 million invested in 2002. Fast forward to, I don't know which button to even try. Okay, perfect. To 2003, and we are currently managing assets of over $11 million. Our funds have grown from 13 funds in 1996 to 33 in 2002 to over 150 today, including named funds within pooled funds. Our annual grants to the community have grown from $2,000 back in 1995 to over $675,000 in 2023. So what is a community foundation? It's a locally run foundation that builds and manages endowment funds to support charitable activities in a specific region. So for the TTF, our region is the entire district of Temiskaming. Our purposes are to raise funds by way for charitable donations for the furtherance of the welfare of our community. And if we were to apply for charitable status for that today, we would not be given it because fundraising activity is no longer recognized by the CRA as a reason to be a charity. So we're lucky we got in when we did, and we can't ever amend our bylaws. Our purposes with those funds are to support specifically social services to advance the welfare of the needy and the alleviation of human suffering and poverty, assisting the promotion of the arts and cultural activities, including, but without limitation, theater, dance, literature, film and video, music, painting, and sculpture, advancing education through the establishment of scholarship funds and the funding of specific endeavors, supporting and advancing the provision of medical services through the funding of medical facilities and medical research, encouraging and supporting physical fitness and amateur sports, and then a catch-all supporting and advancing other community activities or facilities of a charitable nature. The money that's donated to us is held in trust for these purposes, invested, and the proceeds from these investments are granted back to our community. So these are endowment funds. Next slide, thanks. The Temiskaming Foundation is a registered charity with a volunteer board of directors. This year we welcomed 5 new members to our board, stretching from Cobalt to Kirkland Lake and everywhere in between. Chris Osland has taken over the helm of president from Al Willard, and I see a couple of former presidents here in the room today. It's a dedicated and enthusiastic team, and I'm really excited about working with all of these new people. At our AGM this year, we did say goodbye to 2 of our long-term directors, Al Willard and Jack Birch. They had termed out. They're still going to be involved on our advisory council and committees. Next slide. We have a couple of staff. We have me, and we also have an NOHSC-supported intern, our strategic initiatives intern, who is in charge of our Vital Signs project, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then we also work with Connor, Clark, and Lunn for our investments, and we have a dedicated investment manager, Mike Downs. The over 150 funds at the foundation come in a few different forms. First of all, we have our community funds. We have 5 pools of funds where grants are distributed through an application process. They're reviewed by grant committees, and these funds are made up of many smaller named funds within them, where donors have directed that their funds be applied generally to the community. So an example of one that supports the community fund is the Peter and Eileen Ramsey Fund. The community funds available to applicants from Temiskaming Shores are the Community Fund and the For Kids' Sake Fund. We have a lot of scholarship funds. They're very popular, where individuals or organizations have created funds that generate proceeds each year to support scholarships in our district. This year, we awarded over $35,000 in scholarships and bursaries to students at TDSS, ESCSM, EHS, KLDCS, Centre d'Éducation des Adultes, St. Pat's in Cobalt, and Northern College. Donor-advised funds are those where someone would like to direct where their funds will be granted. So sometimes they're very organized with their own branding, such as One Foot Forward. Sometimes they are the depository of former service organizations who have wound down their operations, such as the Silver Lodge Masonic Fund. But by establishing these funds, these volunteers are able to continue to grant to organizations without the fuss and bother of all those barbecues and beer tents. Next slide. Restricted funds are those where individuals or organizations have designated a particular charity in their fund agreement who will receive the funds. The Herbert C. Sweetenham Memorial Fund is one of our earliest examples. This fund supports projects for the betterment of NLPS and the New Liskeard community, whatever that means. It's been around for 30 years, so I'm not sure anymore. But there are also funds that support the Temiskaming Hospital, Community Cancer Care, Temiskaming Shores Public Library, to name a few. And we also have the Temiskaming Shores Smart and Carry Fund. So I brought a check from that. Here you go, Matt. So this fund, we reach out to the city each year to see what they would like the money to go to. Last year, $7,600 was donated to the Rotary Splash Pad. This year, $8,650 is going towards the fence replacement project. Agency funds, it's our last category, are very similar to restricted funds, but what makes them different is they were actually created by the organization itself to fund that own organization's activities. So the Temiskaming Art Gallery is one of the larger ones, and there's a brand new Temiskaming Community Choir Fund. Next slide. As a registered charity, we are governed by the directives of the Canada Revenue Agency. In the past, we were required to disperse 3.5% of our assets each year, though we often granted more depending on how our investments had done. We are now required to disperse 5% of our assets, which means that with assets of 11 million, we must grant 550,000, whether or not we have generated sufficient investment income to support that grant and our own operations. But it's the law, so here we are. In December 2023, the CRA also issued guidance that made it clear that a donor may no longer, or well really they were closing a loophole, may not make a donation to us, directing us to then grant that to a non-qualified donee, i.e. a typical nonprofit organization. So the fundraising we did for Zach's Crib prior to their charitable registration, no longer allowed. Fundraising that was done for Temiskaming Shores Senior Housing Corporation, same thing. This is not something we're going to be able to do in the future. And this has required us to undertake a process involving reviewing our fund agreements and either revising some of these agreements or potentially closing those funds down and returning those funds to the donor. Again, not our decision. However, conversely, we are now very much allowed and encouraged to grant to these same non-qualified donees. I'm just not allowed to have a donor tell me to do it, but we're allowed to choose to do it. But one of the ways that we do that is through sponsorship agreements. And the City of Temiskaming Shores is unique in the district in that in 2010, you passed a bylaw, and that streamlined the process for the city acting as a sponsor for these nonprofit organizations in the geographic boundary of the city. Some of the organizations that have benefited from this arrangement are Small Pond Entertainers, the Tri-Town Ski Village, Tri-Town Lacrosse, the Hillsbury Legion, Branch 54, among others. We're grateful for the support of Stephanie Levier for her help in facilitating this process, and we are going to be working on streamlining the grant confirmation and reporting process to reduce the workload required to confirm that all the funds are being used appropriately. I was hoping this would be in place for September, but realistically, this is going to be something that I work on for March of next year. But we've had one very productive meeting, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with her. So one of the reasons that we requested to speak with you today is we wanted to let you know about some of the current projects that we are working on. So the first up is our new school nutrition fund, Fonds d'alimentation saine pour les élèves. In our 2021 Vital Signs report and the district's community safety and well-being plan, which was adopted by the City of Temiskaming Shores, food insecurity was identified as a serious area of concern in our community. Our report revealed that in 2017-2018, the proportion of food insecure households in Temiskaming was 24.5%, compared to a provincial average of 11.9%. Nearly 1/4 of households with children aged 0 to 17 have experienced food insecurity. And over the years, the Temiskaming Foundation has made individual grants to school breakfast programs, neighborhood cafes, church soup kitchens, and community gardens, but these are all based on applications to our community funds, which require a grant application, a committee review, with uncertainty about whether or not that application will be successful. By contrast, our Food Forever Fund that grants to the 5 food banks in the district and has grown to over $340,000, granting $17,880 this year alone, without the need of a grant application and committee review. Simply by being one of the 5 food banks, they receive a check every year. They don't have to apply for it, we just mail it out. So with the School Nutrition Fund, Fonds d'alimentation saine pour les élèves, we're doing something similar with the 22 schools in our district. They will still need to submit a request for funding describing their program, but these funds will be available and will be distributed proportionally to all the schools that apply each year. So they won't know how much money they're going to get, but they can feel guaranteed that if they submit an application, they will receive funding. And as we grow the fund, we'll be able to grant more. We're currently engaged in an awareness and fundraising campaign, and we're grateful to the Temiskaming Speaker, CJTT, and CJKL for the coverage they've provided to date. And if you want to donate yourself, there's the link right there to the campaign. And if donating is not something within your abilities, please do share the information that we post on about the fund. Next slide, thanks. Which brings me to our vital signs update, which is my last topic for the day. In 2013, we released our first vital signs report, which was a single topic report focused on agriculture and food insecurity in Temiskaming. In 2021, we published our first comprehensive vital signs report with financial support from NOHSC, FedNor, Alan Bartlett, and Jack Birch. And this report followed a series of vital conversations held throughout the district, consultation with local agencies, and a comprehensive community survey guided by the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. The report was distributed widely and was well received, but as we all know, reports that are generated and then stuck on a shelf start gathering dust, and they have little use. So, as part of our current strategic plan, we've committed to forging a path forward to updating this report regularly. We received approval of another NOHSC grant in 2023, and so this year we committed to updating 4 of the original 12 topic areas. We chose these topic areas in consultation with the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee, and we are doing the data collection on their current focus, so health and well-being, community safety, and housing, as well as standard of living. We plan to rotate through a set of topics each year, completing a comprehensive update time to follow the availability of updated Statistics Canada data. And it's our hope that we will be able to sustain this project through our operational budget, but we may need to continue to seek government grants for that. Our Vital Signs survey has been launched, and it is available on our website. The survey is available in English and in French, and hard copies are also being distributed to public libraries throughout the district, as well as you can always drop in our office and say hello and pick one up. Data is only useful if we have a good sample size, so I encourage all of you here today and those viewing the meeting online to not only take the survey yourself, but to share the survey with your networks. The deadline to complete the survey is August 31st. It's supposed to take about 15 minutes to complete. Next slide. Here quickly is an outline of our timeline for the project. We're currently promoting the survey as well as analyzing census data and data collected by Planet Youth, Temiskaming Health Unit. In September, we'll be analyzing the survey data, followed by the preparation of the report and translation into French, and the release of the report by the end of 2024. And then we'll start all over again in January with a new set of topics, hoping to release the survey earlier in the year, recognizing July and August is not the best time to get people to fill out a survey. But you work with your staff when you can hire them. Next slide, please. So thanks again for letting me speak with you today. Here is our contact information if you'd like to get a hold of us. Of course, we have the Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn socials, and we will be launching a monthly newsletter this winter, which you can sign up for. I'm available pretty much any time to talk about the foundation. Before I had the opportunity to work there, I was on the board and a volunteer and pretty much just a huge fan of everything the Temiskaming Foundation does. So we decided to grow a profile, grow our investments so we can grow our capacity to grant and continue to contribute to the well-being of our community for generations to come. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks for your detailed presentation, Bridget. As a past president of the foundation, I'm very supportive of the foundation as well. I think the work that's done in the community over the 20 plus years it's been in existence has been, awesome. And to see the fund grow to where it is today and the amount of money that goes back into the community is phenomenal. So, anybody have any questions for Bridget? Councillor Pelcher-Living.
It's more of a comment, just to congratulate you on putting together this fund and also to thank you for your leadership in addressing this community need and this determinant of health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just similar comments on the great work that the Foundation's done over the years, and having been involved with it, it's a pleasure. I just wanted to comment on vital signs and the 2021 vital signs report that we did when that Claire Hendricks had sort of led with Cherry and Julia and everybody else who was involved with it, but it's so important that we continue to do that, and so great that we're continuing to look at it. And some of the larger communities that do these on an annual basis, they certainly have more resources to do it. It becomes a very, very important tool for just looking at our community and the state we're in, and the good things and the not so good things. And congratulations for continuing to work on that, and I think it's a very important part of our community. And you mentioned Planet Youth specifically, and it was quite interesting to see some of the results of that survey that's come out of Planet Youth. And I think we've discovered a lot of things that we need to look at pretty closely. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thanks again for your presentation.
Thanks very much.
Have a great evening. Okay, our next presentation is from Brittany Clark on the Municipal Program Manager with Food Cycler Science Corporation, and she's going to give us the results of our Food Cycler pilot program. So I believe Brittany's online.
Yes, hello everyone.
Good evening, Brittany.
Good evening. Okay, wonderful. I'm just going to get my presentation ready. All right. I would just like to confirm that everyone can see the presentation.
Yep, we can. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon, good evening. So my name is Brittany Clark, and I'm the Municipal Program Manager here at Food Cycle Science. I'm here to present the results of the Food Cycler pilot program that we ran in partnership with Temiskaming Shores. So next slide, please. So before we take a look at the results, I'd like to give you a short recap of who we are. So Food Cycle Science is a Canadian company based out of Ottawa, and we are 100% focused on providing food waste diversion solutions. We do this using our innovative technology called the Food Cycler, which is sold directly to consumers, to schools through nonprofit organizations, and to municipalities through our Municipal Solutions program. In 2023, we were selected as one of the Deloitte Fast 50 Clean Tech Award winners, and we ranked 108th on the Globe and Mail's Canada's Top Growing Companies. Next slide. As a company, we are proud to say that as of today, the Food Cycler is the trusted food waste solution for over 150 municipal partners across Canada. When Temiskaming Shores joined, you were the 121st municipality to pilot this solution. And we want to acknowledge and thank you for your willingness to trial an innovative solution to the long-standing problem that is food waste. Next slide. So with the support from Impact Canada's Food Waste Reduction Challenge, a pilot program was run in Temiskaming Shores that included 154 participating households. The net cost to the municipality was $15,400 plus shipping and tax. The program ran from February to May of this year, and usage was tracked for 12 weeks to calculate the total waste diversion. Participants completed a survey and they provided their data and feedback. Next slide. We collected 109 responses from 154 participants, which is about 70%. We asked them how important greenhouse gas reduction was to them and also how important waste reduction was. And your residents gave this a 9 out of 10. So these two questions allow you as a municipality to get a sense of how important reducing greenhouse gases and waste are to your residents. And it's fair to say that it's very important. When asked when their food waste went prior to using the food cycler, a large number of your residents answered that at least some of their food waste went into the garbage. A smaller number of residents say that they compost all year, and others said that this was only possible for them in the summer months. Next slide. For the people who do not compost, 53% chose not to because of concerns about animals like bears and raccoons. A large number of residents also reported concerns about odors, maintenance, and space. These answers are in line with a lot of the data we have collected in our other municipal programs, and the food cycler is a great solution for these problems as it's easy to use, odor-free, and the byproduct prevents wildlife encounters. Next slide. So you had a roughly 60%, 40% split of FC30s and Eco5 models in your community. Next slide. Based on the data we collected for diversion, your residents ran an average of 3.66 cycles per week on their smaller FC30s and 3.51 cycles per week on the larger Eco5s. So this is equivalent to 259 kilograms of food waste per year per household that is being diverted by using the food cycler. And this works out to about 40 metric tons of food waste being diverted from the landfill from 154 food cyclers. Next slide. Over the course of the year, these 154 food cyclers will divert 52 metric tons of CO2 equivalents from your local landfill, the equivalent of carbon sequestered by 60.7 acres of forest every year. Next slide. When we asked residents about the number of garbage bags generated prior to using the food cycler, it was around 2.45, and after it was 1.73. So this translates to residents generating 0.72 fewer standard garbage bags per week, which is a reduction of 37.4 garbage bags per household per year that is no longer being trucked to your local landfills. And we like to include some feedback here directly from your residents. So we had one resident say it's an innovative idea, they really like it, the amount of garbage was reduced, and it was definitely impressive. And someone else said, it's an excellent product, it significantly reduces our food waste in the garbage, which in turn makes for less odors in the kitchen. I'm looking forward to the summer without having food waste in the bin outside for 2 weeks, and the smell and bugs that come with that. Next slide. When we asked users if increased awareness of food waste motivated them to waste less food, the overwhelming majority said yes, it did. When people are managing their food waste at home, they're becoming more aware of how much they waste in the first place. And we always say the most effective diversion strategy is to not generate any. So the awareness that comes with this program is very important. Even though this can be difficult to put into numbers, it's an added value that this solution provides and likely contributes to the amount of garbage reduction that we talked about previously. Next slide. When asked if the municipality were to offer a food cycler program at low or no cost, 84% of residents indicated that they think their friends and family would participate. Next slide. An overwhelming 92% would recommend it based on their own experience. Next slide. And this slide here is pretty self-explanatory, and it speaks to the success of the pilot program. 96% of participants will continue using the food cycler as a solution to their food waste moving forward. This level of participation far exceeds any other organic waste management solution that's out there today. For example, here in Ottawa, the Green Bin program has weekly curbside pickup, and it only has about a 57% participation rate, When we look at backyard composting, which is available to everyone that has the space to use it, the rate of adoption has been stagnant for decades. And based on the results we just looked at, it's also quite low across your municipality. We have a few more comments we'd like to share here. So the benefit of using the food cycler was really apparent. They have less waste, less odors in the garbage, and they worry less about animals looking for an easy meal. And then this resident said, I feel so much happier not throwing out food waste in the garbage. I feel like I can make a difference in a small way. Next slide. So overall, your residents rated this pilot program 4.7 stars out of 5, and 78% of your residents gave it 5 stars. This is a testament to all the work that you have put into the planning and launching of the pilot. Next slide. So in the survey, we ask for written feedback, which I've been sharing throughout this presentation. So we get comments from the participants, and we always like to include some constructive comments as well. So I've included them here. I'm not going to read through them all, but this is all included in the copy of the presentation that we've provided you. So I encourage you to take a read through and see what your residents have to say. Next slide. So there's more comments here. And then next slide. So to recap, we have 40 metric tons of food waste being diverted by the 154 food cyclers. We have 37.4 bags per resident per year reduction in garbage, and 96% of residents will continue using their food cyclers. Next slide. So I'd like to take a second to talk about the City of Nelson, British Columbia. So the City of Nelson is the first municipality in the world to adopt the food cycler at the community level as their organics management solution. Some of the resources in place there include partnerships with the local grocery store that hosts a carbon refill station where residents can access their carbon pellets for free. We have a local repair program, bear-proof bins where residents who don't use the soil in their own garden can drop it off, an e-waste recycling program, and an extensive education resource program. So this is just to demonstrate that the possibilities with the program expansion really are endless, and we would love the opportunity to discuss this further with staff members to increase the impact that we're having in Temiskaming Shores. Next slide. And this graph here represents a visualization of the savings from just the 154 food cyclers that are in your community already over their lifespan. So based on your current waste disposal costs, which are $155 per ton, and knowing that the 154 food cyclers are saving a total of around 40 metric tons per year, you can see that your investment will have paid off at the 3rd-year mark, and after 7 years, you'll have saved $25,000 from these food cyclers. These savings can be scaled to a full community program and would represent a significant cost reduction to your municipality. Next slide. So what's next? In order to fully understand the life cycle analysis of the Food Cycler Organics program, we've developed an emissions calculator tool by a third-party climate partner. This tool assesses the environmental impact of the food cycler, contrasting that with emissions avoided through landfill diversion. Consulting and emissions calculations are provided to you at no additional cost. We're also thrilled to be introducing a brand new food cycler this summer called the Eco3. This new technology reflects our commitment to ongoing improvement and innovation. With a smaller overall size, a bucket capacity of 3.5 liters, and the same high-efficiency Vortec grinding system as the Eco5, this technology is an exciting opportunity for multi-residential units or smaller single-family homes. And lastly, we've also initiated a project with a third-party consulting company called Cambium to develop a toolkit for municipalities to use as they consider the cost of a food cycler program versus curbside green bins. We would love to continue working with Temiskaming Shores and provide the tools and information needed to demonstrate food cyclers as a proven, impactful, and economically viable food waste solution. Next slide. And that's it. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thanks for your presentation, Brittany. Does anybody have any questions for Brittany? No. Well, Brittany, I will say that we are one of the 154 residents that was using the recycler, and we had the bigger unit, and it certainly did have a positive impact on the amount of, or a reduction in the amount of garbage going to the road. So I would like to say, thank you. And clearly, when you look at the cost-benefit analysis, it really has had a positive impact, for the city as a whole. So I'm sure Steve and his team will have some conversations, going forward with you. And we do have a question. Councillor Whalen, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation, Brittany. The numbers based on the 154 users are really impressive. I've spoken with many of them. They're really excited to continue the program. We got just over 4,800 homes in Temiskaming Shore, so I think the impact on our landfill can be rather significant. So I'm hoping council will consider this and compare the cost of running the landfill based comparative to running this program. So really glad we did participate in it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful to hear.
Any other comments? Okay, thanks again for your presentation. Have a great evening, Brittany.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That takes us to item 10, correspondence, communication. So 10A from Chris Gallagher, the member of Community Hospice Care Working Committee. Read the new local group committed to finding strategies to challenges and barriers to end-of-life care in the Temiskaming Shores area. That was received for information. Item B, AMO's Canada Community Building Fund team. Read the funding agreement for the renewed Canada Community Building Fund. That was an agreement presented under Section 15 for bylaws tonight. Item C, Dr. Glenn Corneal, Acting Medical Officer for the Temiskaming Health Unit, and Dr. Leanne Canton, the Medical Officer of Health and Chief Executive Officer for the Porcupine Health Unit. Read the merger update related to the governance model of the proposed merged local public health agencies, Northeastern Public Health, Santé Publique de Northeast, and that was received for information. We have the Temiskaming Health Unit, letter of support regarding the potential closure of the Public Health Ontario Laboratory in Timmins. That was received for information. Item E from the Temiskaming Health Unit, read their audited financial statements as of December the 13th, 2023. That was received for information. Item F, the Temiskaming Drug and Alcohol Strategy. Read a letter regarding strengthening alcohol policy in Northern Ontario to protect public health and report to the community. It was received for information purposes. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores agrees to deal with communication items 10A through F in accordance with the agenda of references. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Ducharme. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Takes us to item 11, Committees of Council, Community and Regional. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that the following minutes be accepted for information. A, the minutes from the Temiskaming Shores Public Library Board meeting held on April 24th, 2024. And B, minutes from the Temiskaming Health Unit Board of Health meeting held on May the 1st, 2024. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Graydon, seconded by Councillor Pelchy-Leving. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Takes us to item 12. Are there any reports by members of council? Seeing none. Takes us to item 13, notice of motions. Is there any notice of motions tonight? We don't have any new business. Takes us to item 15, bylaws. And I have a resolution, be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-082, being a bylaw to enter into a lease agreement for the use of rooms within the Don Shepherdson Memorial Arena and the Shelley Herbert Shea Memorial Arena, be hereby introduced and given first, second, and third, and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Pilcher-Living. Second by Councillor Graydon. Councillor Ducharme has declared a conflict of interest on this item. Discussion? All in favor? And that motion is carried. I also have a resolution in front of me, be resolved that bylaw number 2024-077, being a bylaw to authorize entering into a municipal funding administrative agreement with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario for the administration of the Canada Community Building Fund. Bylaw number 2024-078, being a bylaw to adopt in principle the Temiskaming Shores Downtown Transportation Study Report. Bylaw number 2024-079, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2022-107 as amended to authorize the entering into an agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management for light-duty fleet management services, expertise, and strategic planning for the City of Temiskaming Shores, additional 6 vehicle leases for 2025. Bylaw number 2024-080, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2015-128 to establish a system for the collection and disposal of garbage, recyclables, and other refuse, amended tipping fees. Bylaw number 2024-081, being a bylaw to enter into a lease agreement with Smitty's Canteen / Mike Smith for the operation of the Shelley Herbert Shea Memorial Arena concession and pro shop from September the 1st, 2024 to April 30th, 2027. Bylaw number 2024-083, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement with other municipalities for the cost-sharing sum for the joint operation and maintenance of a fire department communication system. Bylaw number 2024-084, being a bylaw to authorize the sale of land, of vacant land on Albert Street, described as Part 1 and Part 2 on Plan 54R-6433 to Investments Philippe Duguay, Inc. Bylaw number 2024-085, being a bylaw to authorize the sale of land, of vacant land on Albert Street, described as Part 3 and Part 4 on Plan 54R-6433 to Investments Philippe Duguay, Inc. Bylaw number 2024-086, being a bylaw to authorize the annual insurance premium payment for municipal insurance and risk management services with Marsh, brokered by MIS Municipal Insurance Services for July the 1st, 2024 to June the 30th, 2025, which will also include our cyber security insurance. Bylaw number 2024-087, being a bylaw to authorize an agreement with 360 Engineering and Environmental Consulting Limited for the implementation of an asset retirement obligation program. Bylaw number 2024-088, being a bylaw to appoint a municipal law enforcement officer for the purpose of enforcing the city's animal control bylaw and noise bylaw as it relates to the animal care and control services, Sydney Plant. Be hereby introduced and given first, second, and third, and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Wilson. Seconded by Councillor Ducharme. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Next is item 16, the schedule of meetings. We have a committee of the whole meeting scheduled for August the 13th, 2024, starting at 3 p.m. And B, the regular council meeting scheduled for August the 13th, 2024, starting immediately after the committee of the whole meeting. Takes us to our question and answer period. Does anybody have any questions for council? Seeing none, takes us to item 18, closed session. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved, the council agrees to convene in closed session at 5:25 to discuss the following matters. A, the adoption of the June 18th, 2024 closed session minutes. B, under Section 239-2E of the Municipal Act 2001, litigation or potential litigation insurance claims update. And C, under Section 239-2D of the Municipal Act 2001, labor relations, employee negotiations, the city manager recruitment process update. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Graydon. Second by Councillor Pelchy-Living. Discussion? All in favor? And we are going into closed session. Thanks, everyone.
So shall we head to run out?